Hi.
Hello.
Hello. I'm with Ruth today. We'll be discussing her story. So, what happened to you and your husband?
In the beginning, we acquired this house in March 1988, moved in, got I can't remember the figures unfortunately, but we got a mortgage, a normal mortgage, not a special mortgage. We lived in it for a few years, and then.
So how long do you live here?
Well, we've lived here for over 30 years, 88, 98, 2008, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. About 36 years.
36 years
Yes,
you were living
36
here
years in this
in
property.
this house in
Yes.
Sheffield.
Yes, but I was born in this area and I've known the area all my life, so that's why I chose this road, because it was quiet and I was quite happy and suited us. We had my son at the time living, just one bedroom for him, and just it all was fine. Both had a job. I worked for the council, and part-time job with having my little boy, and everything was fine. Until one afternoon in December 2005, I was just here waiting to go on my shift for work, and out of the blue, a man phoned me, and he said, I don't know whether he said who he was from or what he wanted, but he must have said what he wanted. I remember his name, it was Mr. Profit, they called him, Mr. James Profit, and he must have said he was from a company called GE Money. And at that point, I should have said to him, excuse me, how have you got the number? It is not in the phone book. But I didn't, because I'm quite a trustworthy lady. So he said, can I come and discuss your mortgage? I said, well, my husband's at work, you'll have to come one evening. So he said, I'll tell you what I'll do. You'll put the kettle on and I will bring a cake with me so we can have something. And I didn't think that. I thought that was just a nice man. So he did. I told him, and he came, this gentleman came, sat in this very room, and we had the tea, we had the cake, and the hours were ticking by, and he was obviously determined to sell this remortgage that we weren't looking for and we didn't understand.
Did he introduce yourself as a mortgage advisor? Did he?
Yeah, he was.
Was he explicit?
It was a broker. I don't remember whether it was absolutely. He must have said he was from a broker, which is somebody that works with a big mortgage company.
Mm-hmm.
But what he really wanted out of the 4 hours that he was here. I mean, it was getting late, and my husband wanted to go to bed because he was working early. But eventually, he got us to sign a document. Now, I wasn't sure I wasn't totally understanding of what was happening, but I thought, well, when you're applying for any mortgage or any financial product, you have to give them your bank statements, and so they know how much you've got, know if you can afford it, and your pay slips. Mm-hmm. And we did all that. And we were accepted for this mortgage product, and we actually started it in January the 18th, it was, 2006. They accepted us, and we just carried, the payment was affordable, so we started to pay.
So what was the benefit for you? Was the payment smaller, or
the payments
they give you cash advance? Did they pay you lump sum of money?
We actually did get a lump sum, yes we did. It wasn't a massive sum, and unfortunately I did have something to do with that, so I did not gain by it. I didn't, I wasn't given thousands and thousands and thousands to go on holiday. It was a family matter that wanted sorting out, so I sorted that out. So I actually did not gain from what, I didn't actually put that in the bank and think, oh, lovely, lovely. I was younger and I don't know anything about money, and my husband's not very good. We've never, if anyone had said, look, this is a dodgy mortgage, it's what they call interest only. Do you understand what is going to happen if you can't pay at the end of the 15 years? What are you going to do? How are you going to pay it off? Nobody really made that clear, that we could be in a lot of trouble.
So you didn't have clear understanding
No.
what you're signing?
No, I didn't. Maths was never my strong point, and money certainly isn't. It was just a case of the every month the mortgage payment came out. I didn't think anything about the country and interest rates. I wasn't really, just getting about my daily life and paying. But gradually, obviously, unfortunately, after 2006, probably 4 or 5 years into the mortgage, my husband, unfortunately, he had a very good job in a shop. He could have been a manager, but he actually, unfortunately, got dismissed from this job. So that left me with just my wage. I was lucky enough to get overtime from my job. So we still managed to pay for a little while. But in 2010, we kept getting letters that mortgage payments had been missed because he found another job, but it was the pay was a lot lower. So obviously it was a friend in the shop, and he couldn't pay very much. So we started getting letters from this GE Money about, showing it, making it quite clear, you're falling into arrears, what are you going to do? And so the first court appearance was in 2010. We were lucky enough to go to the Citizens Advice Bureau and get a gentleman to come into court with us.
Was arrears big, substantial, or was this just an odd mispayment?
It was the odd mispayment. It wasn't massive. Mm-hmm. The arrears weren't massive, but they obviously they don't like it when you missed a couple of payments or whatever. It just, and one payment leads to another and another, and it was just a gradual slide into the arrears. But we went to court in 2010 with this gentleman from the Citizens Advice Bureau, and just like sat round a table with the judge, and the judge kind of said, right, can you make the money up and put a little bit more on, so you pay your mortgage payment, what you need to pay, but you put a little bit more on for the arrears, so you get gradually your arrears go. Mm-hmm. But it didn't really work like that, because with Philip's employment being a lot, below what it was when we first started, we just never made the money up. We just did not make the money up. So it still was a problem that we still weren't up to date with it. And in 2014, I think it was the company, this GE Money, I think they'd actually stopped dealing with us as GE Money. They went out of business. They weren't allowed to do mortgages anymore because something had happened. And I got a phone call from them out of the blue to say that they weren't dealing with my mortgage anymore, but they did give me £500 because they realised that taking us to court had upset me, because I made it quite clear. I've always talked to these people, and that my mental health was suffering. So they offered us a payment as compensation for being upset, which I thought was strange at the time. And we took that, rightly or wrongly, we took it. And then it was the debt. It was a debt that gets bought by debt companies. It's not a mortgage company that owns you anymore.
You mentioned court, just so I understand the timeline. So
2010.
2010, there was a court. What was the outcome? What was the outcome?
The first court was pay your mortgage payment every month and a bit on top for your arrears. But that didn't work after a while.
So since 2010, you were trying to catch up, but you couldn't.
We were, yeah. So in 2014, we still weren't caught up. Mm-hmm. We still were struggling. I can't remember where Philip was working at the time. He's had quite a few jobs, unfortunately, where he's been dismissed. So, all the other bills wanted paying and all that kind of. So in 2014, I can't remember whether GE Money were gone by then and another firm were involved, but it wasn't a firm you'd ever heard of. It was a debt that had been bought, these companies buy debts. They buy a mortgage debt.
So now, at this point, did they explain to you what is happening with your mortgage, deed of assignment?
No.
So
Never heard of one of those until Mr. Banner told me about them. We were told, we got a letter that said your direct debit will now show a different name of Engage Credit, who I'd never heard of, but they were now in control of this mortgage. But we had not signed a legally binding document ever. So in 2014, once again, we were summoned to court. I can't remember how, I mean, the amount by then was, I wouldn't say it was out of control. I won't say that because that's not true. Once again, the judge was sympathetic. We didn't get a representative at that time. And once again, they said, right, can you afford your mortgage payment and £40 a week? So that's where that started in 2014. So we had to agree to that.
So since 2014, were you paying your mortgage plus £40?
No, it just got to the £40 for the last 10 years. It's just got to the £40.
Because your mortgage went down, or
the mortgage when the interest. I now know that when the country's interest rates are high, your mortgage is high. I can't understand. Now the only amount that we had to have if they would have been kind, this current company, if they would have been kind to us, all we would have needed to pay a month, and not the judge. This judge, but the judge before, because I've been through 3 judges in the last 12 months. Judge Childs said to their side, could Mr. and Mrs. Atkin pay $495, which is the mortgage amount every month? And I was quite happy, and he tried to get that to stop all this. But their side, he addressed himself to their side, and they weren't listening. Right, so that was so. Since 2014, we've been paying £40 a week, and I've had it added up, and there's been more £40 since. I only paid £40 yesterday, even though today potentially we were going to be on the street. I didn't stop the payments because I was warned. Now it might go well for you in court. Stop that money, and they've got you. But when the money was mentioned in court, their side pretended they didn't know anything about it. They'd never heard of me paying that.
But you pay consistently?
Yep, I've paid over £30,000. And it's gone. I don't know where it's gone. It's not gone off the mortgage. It's gone.
So it's £30,000 paid from the beginning of the mortgage, or
no, from 2014, 10 years.
Right.
So somewhere on the line, it's been swallowed up because it's interest only.
Okay, but you are still paying.
Yes.
So was the installment, what you pay was less than your mortgage at the time?
Yeah, it's because basically what the problem is. It's not covering the monthly payments. That is true. I understand that, but there's a query about paying anything. I've been told by a few people, if you are paying something, you're not just ignoring it and won't pay, then it should be something that they
effort
should
from
know,
your side,
making an effort, right? Now, they're not interested in that, this company. They're not interested. Obviously, that money's gone. I can't get that money back. And that's that. But they, unfortunately, and my luck is very bad normally, the term of this mortgage ended in January 2021. Obviously, still quite a lot outstanding. And during that period, I had acquired a key worker from a housing association, but there was COVID rules on, and you could not come in the house, you could not sell your house. So it's not our fault. We've got to 3 years down the line. That's one of the problems. The fact that the mortgage has ended 3 years ago, even though we've been paying the £40, and they haven't taken any of that into consideration. As I say, my key worker couldn't come to visit me. We couldn't sell it because she just weren't allowed to do it. So all that was never taken into consideration. And obviously the arrears now, I do know the arrears now, as from the last court appearance and the last arrears statement, we're now £3,000 in arrears, and the actually outstanding money which they want back now, even though I'm going to go, they want this money back, and it was read out in court. They want, and this is not the final amount, there's court fees to go on, and the bailiff will have had to be paid today. £87,000 they want off us, even when we've gone.
So now you paid the deposit when you were buying house originally.
We'd had a house before, so I don't quite know whether we'd had a home. We were just swapping homes. It wasn't it wasn't a new.
But still, for 12 years, you built some equity in the house.
Well, yeah.
And even if you're, my understanding is, even if you're buying interest only, then you're not repaying the capital. But what you're doing, you're still owner of the property. You co-own it with bank till you clear your mortgage. But then value of property goes up, and you benefit from that.
Yeah, should do, but it didn't seem
because while you're paying interest, the amount of loan does not change.
No.
But property value goes up.
Yeah, I agree with you, but the condition of the property is being taken into consideration.
It's still, I understand, appreciate that house might be in certain state.
It wants things doing to it, you know.
Okay, but still, value of property went up because of value of houses. They go down go up in cycles.
That's right.
They never go down in that respect. They only go up and up and up. There is register of property value in England, and pretty much every 10 to I would say 20 years time period, property value double. It's not like clockwork, but it just goes up and up, because if you think not enough houses is being built, supply and demand. There is more money in circulation, then there's inflation, money is losing its value, but property doesn't. So property is retaining the value, and the value of property is going up. So let's say, conversely, you could buy a house for 60,000 10 years ago. The same house will be now, you will not buy it at 60,000. So not necessarily will double in a short span of time, but over 2 decades, roughly, it will be pretty much double the original price you paid. So even if you pay just interest only, what I'm saying, your loan remain the same. So if we use example of £100,000, typical deposit is depending 10%, 20%. So you put some money towards buying the house.
Yeah.
So you put deposit initially. So for argument's sake, if house was say 80,000 back then, and now value, even if it's run down, is still value of the house went up regardless, because you say it's 36 years since you're here. So it's 2 cycles. So I don't know, but I can check later on what would be original sale price.
Okay, I don't remember.
Okay, I know how to check, so we'll check on the land registry.
Yeah.
What it was sold for when you bought it, and what is actual value.
One of the things, one of the plans a few years ago when the first key worker was with us, they said, what are you going to do? They asked me to tick the box, this company, what are you going to do when the term finishes? And one of the boxes was sell the property. So yeah, I agreed with that. Even though I didn't know where I was going to live, I agreed with it. So I then had to go and get this property valued. So one afternoon, I went to Chapeltown, where there's a lot of estate agents, and I went into 3, or did I go into 4? And when they heard my story, and I was expecting them to come out and value the place, and then my key worker could email the valuations to this company. There was only one company that said they would come and look at it physically. The other companies just said to me, "What do you need to repay the mortgage?" And I told them, and they just gave me headed notepaper, theirs, and that they wouldn't come out to see it. But the first estate agent, that's called Your Move, that I went in, I told my story to the young man on the desk, and then another man came out of an office, and he said, I've not forgotten any of this. It's in my memory, and I will never forget all this. It's been so horrible. And he came out of his office, and he said, "Excuse me, madam." He said, "Are you still paying anything on this?" So I said, "Yes, I am." And so he said, "Well, I don't think they can do anything to you." And that was all he said. But his company wouldn't come out. Blundell's are the only ones who came out. So my key worker then emailed all these valuations over to this company, and we didn't hear any more. And the offer to sell it was off the table. It didn't happen.
But did they give you valuation? What was the value of the house?
Well, I said what did I say? I said I wanted 80. It was worth 8. It was. I needed 80,000 at that point to cover the mortgage, and that's what they would. That's all they wrote down. And only one estate agent came and looked at all the rooms. The rest of them did not come near the place. Now I don't know why.
Okay.
They were prepared to write it down, but they weren't prepared to come out.
But, what was the valuation?
About 80,000.
So you will just finish your mortgage and you will be at zero?
I mean, obviously there's no case of making any money on it. Ever. But I was prepared to sell it. And that was an option, and then it was taken away from me. My key worker heard no more about it, and it was all they were decided to press ahead. 2021 came and went. 2022 we didn't hear much from them. Last year they started to kind of be a little bit like, what we're going to do about this. That was, when did I last? I kept speaking to them, but by then I'd got another key worker, and she was absolutely not helping me whatsoever. I got registered with the council, and she tried to bid, but somehow the council were I was offered end of last year, beginning of this year, 3 properties, which is when you're in trouble and you're likely to be
evicted.
Yeah. Well, the first eviction date was penciled in for last summer, but the judge squashed it. She heard my story and she stopped it. So that was overturned. The first one was supposed to be June.
So what was the ruling on that one?
She overheard my story and she said to us, "Go away, get yourself a solicitor and come back in August and we'll see it. We can fight it if you've got a case." But unfortunately, I went to Howell's solicitors, and the lady told me quite straight that they weren't going to take the case because it wasn't a strong case and there was no fight. So she wasn't interested. And Howell's, I'm still waiting for a call back on them from. I've tried to talk to them twice, and the last solicitor that I spoke to 2 weeks ago said to me, "This is a very unusual case, and I don't quite know how to deal with it." And that was from a solicitor. The key worker I had, she'd never come across it before. She deals with homeless who are like refugees or people who are swapping a house. But she'd never had a person who'd got mortgage arrears. So she, in her own words, she had no idea.
She didn't know how to handle.
No. So she registered us with the council, and we were put in a certain band of needs. And it goes from the priority for medical reasons, which you get the best properties, but you only get one choice. You've got to choose. You're given one choice, and if you don't take it,
then
you're naughty. So I wasn't put in that band. I was put a bit lower down, and I was offered 3 properties. Now, their duty of care is a roof. Doesn't matter whether your husband's disabled, or you can't walk, or you've got cancer. It doesn't matter. They offer you what nobody else wants. All the good bungalows, which I was hoping for, have all been snapped up. My key worker kept going on the, on the computer trying to look for some properties, and she kept coming back empty. She didn't bid because she has to bid because I haven't got a computer. So she kept coming every week. No, I'm sorry, there's nothing available this week. And I thought, that's weird. Why is there nothing available? So I went down to the housing lady, and she promised to help me. She promised to, she said, yeah. So what she did, the back end of last year, she offered me a sheltered property at Stocksbridge, which is quite a long way away. Now, I've got a pet cat, but I'm going to have to get rid of her now. I know that sounds brutal, but that's what I'm going to have to do. I've got to rehome her because I'm not allowed to take her. But at that point, I wasn't clear on that. So sheltered accommodation, you can't. So that was that. That was one, and then another property at Gleedless. And I've been told a few fibs actually, because I was told it was the seventh floor up. In a tower block. And
this is something that is not feasible for you and your husband.
Fire hazard, mobility problems. He was wearing a catheter.
So you need a specific property.
We needed ground floor, right? But the one that the property that in January, the property that they pushed the hardest, they even offered me a letter to say, come and look at this, was a tower block in Upperthorpe. And it literally was a 14-storey tower block. But I was supposed to be on the ground floor, but still it wasn't acceptable. It isn't a very good area. And anybody who's ever been in there, I knew a young man that lived there, and he was a problem, and he's even moved out. It's that bad. So I rejected all these 3 properties, but 3 strikes, 3 rejections, when they've offered you a perfectly... What they say is a good property, but not good for me, but good for them. You're not allowed to reject more than 3. And I did that in January. So, this lady kept coming, this worker kept coming, and I'm not proud of what I did next, but one day when the housing lady from Howden House came on the phone, I actually lost my temper with her. Big mistake over the cat. But I did. So I then made it that they were cross with me. And eventually, 2 or 3 weeks ago, they actually disqualified us from the council housing list for a year. When this eviction was imminent, I was given a letter that said, sorry, you can't bid anymore. So that upset me. So what I thought, what can I do? I've just got to sit tight.
So
nowhere to go.
Was eviction already outcome of the court? Did they already make a judgment?
We went to court 3 times. Judge Childs, Judge Gardner twice. When did we go to? Went to Judge Childs it went before Judge Childs in January. Was it January? Should have been out on the 14th of January. But he tried to keep us in by saying, could we pay this £495, but their side weren't having any of it. So he was very, very, very reluctant to bring that judgment in, knowing that we were vulnerable and we hadn't got anywhere to go. But my son... was having conversations with this company, email conversations, and the MP was involved very, very briefly. And publicity, Sheffield Star, everybody was trying to, push it that we shouldn't be evicted. So eventually they sent us a letter the beginning of the week of the eviction in January to say that it wasn't taking place. So that was we don't really know why that happened.
I remember reading article in Star.
Did you read it?
That's how I found out about you. Somebody tagged me, knowing that I do bit of citizen journalism, and that's how I found out. Article says that you were supposed to have eviction on 11th of January.
Probably wasn't. Yeah.
So 11th, and I thought somebody maybe tagged me by mistake on past event, but then that person who messaged me just corrected it and just said that the eviction is due today, 10:30, which was stopped by people who came here. So you had bailiffs attending this morning.
We did, yes. Even though I've got a new key worker, and we were registered with Barnsley Council because my son lives there. Even though my son kept bidding on Barnsley Council, they've got a waiting list of about 16 weeks. So I didn't think we'd get there either. We were left with no bids on the table in Sheffield.
Did they have any plan whatsoever, or they will be just happy for bailiffs to come in and kick you out of the property?
My plans?
No, the council.
The council washed their hands of me, basically. They wouldn't even put me in bed.
So if not people coming this morning, you could be literally forced out of...
Tonight, I was due to sleep in the car or go to my son's on a very, very emergency basis because it's not practical. Because I've got a grandson with special needs and there's no room for me. And it's...
same for your husband who
my husband
requires...
He couldn't go there because of his...
So what would happen to your husband then?
I actually, if I'm truthful, unless a neighbour very kindly took him in, I really wasn't...
So literally you will end up cold on the street?
Yes, we would have... It was going... Yeah.
And council knew for months in a row and they didn't have any action for you?
No, they withdrew all help.
Not even like emergency accommodation,
no, they
hotel.
Said they wouldn't put
They just say that they will not deal with you.
No. We could pack a case and go down to Howden House. That was the advice from the shelter on-duty solicitor when we went to court. He was no help at all. He just said, it was very clinical and horrible. He didn't even look at me. I explained everything, health problems and everything, and he just said, I don't think the judge has got any choice but to let them have their eviction now. It's been going on for 3 years. But he said, I will say to the judge, would she please put a note on the bailiff's thing that says that this lady and gentleman, literally, I've got nowhere to go on that night, and that would the council please reconsider their action about disqualifying me? And I didn't. And then I was also told after that information would not have been allowed to be. The judge would ignore it. They would ignore it. Everybody, if the judge said it, it would be ignored. I was led to believe whatever was said, forget it because it's not happening. They were adamant when we went the last time to court, leading up to today. Their side, the first thing was asked by the judge, have this couple made a plan to pay the £87,000 now? And that was the first question, not where are they going to sleep, how are they feeling, are they ill? Not that, when she's quite sick, clearly seen my husband come in the court in a walking stick. It was just their side, and no, I haven't, Judge, I can't pay it, we can't pay it. So, she tried her best to make it nice for me, and this shelter man explained that he would like that to be put down. That we've nowhere to sleep that night. She asked me my side of it. She asked me, you have refused 3 properties. Why have you refused 3 properties? Judge, they weren't really very satisfactory for our needs, mental and physical. So. Yes, she was very nice and very kind, but they were more for the money side of it rather than what was going to happen to us. Their only concern was how are we going to pay that money back? And we can't. been stated for years we can't.
Okay, so even following the logic, so if the mortgage is interest only and your debt remain the same and you're still paying interest, why wouldn't you be able to stay? So the arrears was just 3,000?
3,000 up to date, yes they are. Yeah.
So it's not much money to evict somebody who was paying consistently for 36 years, even with some mispayments. I can't comprehend how they could come out with the idea that you need to end up on the streets.
Well, they were, and the bit that it's been handled very, very, very. We haven't been treated with respect by the company. They actually don't sell mortgages, this company, but what they do, they get the houses when they're empty, and a workman actually turned up on my doorstep last September, ready to measure up for doing the house out and re-renting it. And he came, no letter of, no ID, no information.
Where was that?
He turned up on my birthday last September on the doorstep on this particular day.
Did you let him in?
No, I did not let him in because he'd got no ID. He was dressed in workman's clothes. He had a mobile phone to his ear and he wasn't listening to a word I said. And I told my husband to get inside because of my husband's, he could have hurt him. And I wasn't having that. I was very frightened. I was scared in case someone was going to come and knife me. But so no, he didn't get in. And I kept saying, "Where's your ID? Who are you?" And he just mumbled CHL, which is the company's name. So I said, "Well, I don't know anything about it." So he kept talking down the phone, saying to somebody at that end, "Have you got this? Have you got this?" And I thought, what? And I got mad. I got upset even though I was shaking. And I said, "Right." I said, "Go away. I don't know who you are. I'm going to phone the police. Go away." And I got him to go to the gate, and he kept taking photographs of the house. And I said, "No, go away. I don't know who you are." Anyway, I came back in and I locked the door and I phoned my son. And he was going to phone the police, but they were busy. So he phoned this company straight away, directly. And he got an answer, and this was the answer from them. "Oh yeah, they were doing a residence check on us, even though there was no bailiff papers. They were doing a residency check to see if your mum and dad were still in the house." So my son said, "Well, where do you expect them to be? They haven't got an eviction notice." So they'd come ready to look around if I'd let them in, to measure up, to get straight in here when I've gone and turn it around and re-let it. That's their business. And he found out they were a company from London who deal with empty houses to get the people go, and they come in and refurbish it and re-let it quick for money, for profit.
So 11th of January,
Yeah.
that's what was mentioned in
Yeah.
Sheffield Star.
Yes.
That eviction didn't happen.
That did not happen. It was squashed on the Monday as it was due to take place.
It was squashed by whom? By
CHL Mortgages.
So
because-
company, so there was no people attending, there was just a company?
No, there was no people attending, no.
Okay. And then obviously people found out about you from newspapers and
Yes.
they got in touch with you, or they just turned it
No,
today?
Mark
Banaman.
Yeah, Banaman came on the day of the January eviction. He came up the path, and I've got the key worker in here as well. And I saw this gentleman come up, and I said to the key worker, "Oh, there's somebody coming." "Oh, was it?" So she said, "Well, be careful." Well, I went to the door, and he introduced himself, and he said, "I'm not gone." And so I explained to him what had happened, that it was overturned. But he said he'd had a shout out that there was some eviction taking place. And he said, "I've got here as quick as I could." So that was how I first came upon him. He knew about me. Well, I think why why it was the Sheffield Star were onto the story straight away. My son got the Sheffield Star, and their photographer had been up, and we were in the Sheffield Star. And that's how I think
People heard about you.
heard. Yeah. Yeah, but I'm afraid I'm not very happy with the social media because somebody who doesn't, I do know, but she'd got no business to say what she said about me. In fact, it's slander. Wrote some horrible things about me on Facebook.
I think this is like irrelevant.
nasty.
So let's focus on people. They do all sorts of things on social media. So I wouldn't really be worrying about
Well,
this.
it worried me at the time because,
Yes, but
I'm not
again,
used to it.
I understand. This is just upsetting, but I'd like to focus this on your story in the terms of you buying the house, living here for 36 years. And may you tell our viewers your age, your story, what was your profession before you retired?
Well, I'm 68, and I was working. First of all, when I left school, I worked for my late dad had a company, so I worked in the offices, and then he died young, and so my mum didn't want me in the company, so I had to find another job. So in 1990 or 91, I decided, because I was a mum with a small child, I decided to be a school dinner lady. So I did that for 8 years on the council, Sheffield City Council. I enjoyed it. Not much money, only £25 a week. And I then found out about this other job, which I had a friend who did this job of taking disabled children to school on Sheffield Council's buses. So I thought, that looks easy. I like children. No qualifications, I could do that. So I applied to do it, and I got taken on straight away. And that was in 1999, I think I started that. Yeah, I did. I started in 1999. And I gradually... It was a bit upsetting because the children were very poorly. So, it was a big responsibility, but I enjoyed it. And it was good wages because I actually got overtime. I didn't just get the day shift in the evening.
So that was the job when your husband
My husband had a
job?
very good job in a big company, a big paint company's local warehouse. He was very good at it, and he was ready for becoming a manager. But I'm afraid it all went rather sour on him. They dismissed him for the problem that he has, and he appealed against all that, but which led us to the income going right down, because the next job was a shop, but it was a friend's shop, and the friend was not doing very well, and he could only pay him what he could pay him, and so the gap between that job and that job just went. And that's how we've all come. But I kept working.
But it wasn't really the case of your problems. The root of your problems was the changing from your repayment mortgage to interest only.
Yeah, it was because I didn't
which
understand.
you weren't able to understand.
I didn't realise. I pay for the car, money comes off. And I can see that money coming off, and it finishes. And I thought that's what this did. It would have done if it was a
so you didn't understand the whole concept?
No, I did not understand. No, I didn't. I really genuinely did not. If I'd have had someone stood there and said, now be careful, you do know you're going to have a big lot of money to find when it finishes, I would have been very... But what I don't understand, GE Money saw how old we were. We were both 50-something. They saw what we earned. We got pay slips. They'd got the right to say, no, you can't afford this. I was looking back, why didn't they just look at it and say, sorry, mortgage application rejected?
I can imagine, now you say this company is out of business, so
yes,
I can imagine if the broker practices were one of the kind, that company were mis-selling the products, and you were told, you told that they were stopped from trading, so I can imagine they were doing some shady work.
Yes, I've been, I can't get to the bottom of GE Money, but from little bits of information that Mark's got for me over the internet, they were fined millions of pounds in America about this, and there's something about Ireland as well. they've done something.
Mm-hmm.
They've done something wrong in the past. But I've never been able to meet another. There are other couples.
Was this even taken into consideration that you wouldn't even be in this position if not?
If they'd have rejected, all it would have been was a letter that said, "Sorry, your recent application for a remortgage has been rejected." We'd have just carried on paying what we were paying, hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was 12 years to go before it was paid off. And hopefully, all right, we might have still had a few arrears, but we would not have hopefully been in the position where we were so badly in trouble that we would have been under any kind of eviction. So that's how it would have gone on, hopefully.
So we now got, because this is a very complicated situation, so there's so many threats that we need
there's a lot,
to put together, so it might be confusing for our listeners.
Yes, but, it's been confusing for the solicitors.
Yes, so imagine, that's why the whole drama of this situation is that put yourself in Ruth's shoes and imagine yourself working all your life, doing everything as you should, like buying the house, working, paying your bills, not doing anything to try not to pay, like doing something
honestly,
deliberate. So you were trying to pay as much as you could afford.
Yes, I did.
You try to make an effort all the time to get on.
Yeah, talk to them, made sure we talked.
And then obviously you weren't literate in the language that they were using, like interest only.
Yeah, no, honestly, no.
You don't have this financial knowledge. So
no, I do now.
They're using specific lingo, which is hard to understand.
Went over my head.
Yeah, they don't explain this in layman terms.
No, they didn't.
So this is something that is hard to understand. And the whole tragedy now is that. So we're now seeing elderly couple, which is on the brink of being kicked out of the house.
Yes.
And nobody is really seriously interested. And we got literally random people, finding out, organizing on social media, coming out to stop the eviction.
Yes. Yes, that's basically what it is. People I've never met and are being just supporters, really. There's nothing they can do.
Mm-hmm.
The courts have ruled. There's no going back to court. It was made quite clear. The last appearance was that was it. That was the very final decision on this matter. It wasn't going to go to any more chances, which was heartbreaking.
And even from point of view of council, I'm just thinking, how illogical is that? It's like, for sure, to relocate you to another house cost them more than £3,000.
Yeah.
So instead of covering your arrears, perhaps so you can stay in that house. To not escalate to repossession. I just don't. I can't get my head around.
Well, nobody can. Even my own son has kind of thought.
And especially
strange all this. It doesn't sit.
It's just like. Even the basic thing that all your life you were working, various jobs, paying taxes, paying your pension,
I did everything,
all your insurance, your mortgage, you are paying everything, and now you're stuck in this position, which I would understand if somebody deliberately tried to play the system and.
Well, I can, I mean, if you deliberately don't pay and you don't talk to the mortgage people and you leave it and leave it and leave it and you just ignore all the letters, you can't blame that mortgage company for repossessing the property back. But for somebody who was. Every little thing that's happened to me over the past 15 years, including going about me, this medical condition I had, and I had to stop work, so that made me retire early. They were told about everything. They got copies of hospital letters, and still they're not interested in anything. All they want is 87, well, maybe more. Oh, probably over £90,000. When I've gone through that door for the last time, they'll want me to go probably back to a court to come to an agreement to pay the rest of the money. They will sell the property or auction it, and then me and my husband are liable for the rest of the debt. Whatever the outstanding, it could be 30,000, it could be 60,000, depending on how much they get for this. And we're supposed to come to an agreement on a pension and one benefit to pay them off.
It's so degrading when you're like being told, just do your job, do as you're told, not to cause a trouble.
I've been put down all the way. I haven't been considered whatsoever as a human being. I mean, the comments I've made have been pretty, not rude, rude, but in a nice way. But they're just preying on vulnerable, middle-aged. They're not allowed to do it. The government doesn't let you call people anymore. You cannot call anybody on that. You can't sell a mortgage product on the phone. You can't do it. It was stopped. So that doesn't help me, but it helps other people. I feel I've been let down by the system, all the professional people who've tried to be paid to help me. None of them knew what to do. I'm like a test case, according to Howells. I'm a test case. And all this people being cost of living crisis, there'll be lots of people like me who can't pay the mortgage. So where are they going to live? On the street?
But look what happened just recently. It was Hunt who was proposing for people who, due to cost of living crisis, I call this more accurate, cost of corruption crisis. I think that would be more fair.
It probably is, yes.
Name for it. So this so-called, in the bracket, cost of living crisis. So he suggested that lenders should accept switching mortgages to interest only.
Really? I didn't know that.
That was the official line from the government.
Okay.
How does this help? It doesn't help, whatsoever.
No.
Because what you're doing, you're just extending your mortgage. Therefore, you accrue more of the interest.
But we're not. I mean, we're not allowed to have any products. We weren't given any options. Oh.
Yep. You want to,
Philip? The only thing they want, the main thing they want now, is us out the door on this new timeline, this new threat, because it's still a new threat to me. And they're not playing games. They're ruthless people. They're not bluffing, and they're not taking any excuses. And so then this is just, I can't fight this any longer now. It's taking a health toll on me now. I can't. I didn't think there were so cruel people in the world. And it's money. They want money back. They can have money back, £1 a month when I've gone. That's all I can have. That's all I'm prepared to pay them. And we will not live long enough to pay that money. So they'll never get this house paid off. So how does that work? It doesn't get paid off.
Did you know why the way the mortgage is structured? I found out just recently that through first years of mortgage, which you say you were paying for 12 years.
We've been paying for a while, yeah.
So
it was a while.
You had mortgage for 12 years, and then it happened to you when this it was 2005, yes?
Yes, 2006 actually it started. The phone call
but
was...
that's fine. So we're talking 36 years ago.
Yes, we are.
So you were paying this for 12 years. So imagine that over that period of 12 to 15 years, you paid most of the interest already for the house.
Yeah.
The reason why banks are doing it, because this is something peculiar to UK system, that people tend to move or change the product. It is kind of, again, like every country is different, and like we all got sorts of different arrangement. In UK, you got fixed rates for 2 years, 3, 5 years. But how come, while you're buying house on a period of 30 years, 25 years, why this isn't set for the whole length? Same interest.
Yeah.
If your loan is for 25 years, they shouldn't be changing every 3 years.
No.
So bank is taking advantage.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
In that respect.
Yeah.
And now, over first half, you're paying most of the interest. That is ultimately, you will then pay less and less. Your mortgage payment will go down. But you will pay most of the interest in the first half. they do this deliberately because people are changing job, whatever, divorcing, moving, for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Then bank is cashing in all the cream, all the interest.
Right.
Okay,
So-
and then on the sale, because you would have the half of the house paid already
Right.
by 12 years,
Right.
most of the interest. So I'm not sure what was the term of your mortgage.
The first one.
Yes.
Would probably. I thought it would have been 25 years, but I can't be up.
So you see, you were halfway through,
We must have been halfway through. Yeah, we would
and
have been.
literally on a standard product like residential mortgage, you pay most of the interest in the first half.
Right.
Because they are just accommodating. This is to make bank the most of profit. And the same like switching rates. Why you remortgage every 3 years? Why they're encouraging you? Oh, just call us remortgage. We give you a few thousand back. Why? Because then instead of buying the house, acquiring it, you're just generating more and more debt. This is printing money out of thin air.
It's. When I think back, I wish I was told when we got married, I was told, get yourself on the housing list. And then, I wished I know it's dead money, but I really now wish I'd never, my dad always said, buy a house, get a job, get a house, own a house. It's not worked for me. I wish that I'd have rented from day one now. I know that money would have gone like dead money, rent is dead money, isn't it?
In a sense, it is similar, yeah, because you don't own the
You don't ever
house.
own it, but you always get the repairs done and things like that.
Yes, I would say it's more of a case of lack of knowledge, right?
Well, we definitely haven't got any knowledge.
Obviously, in your case, you were, I would say, scammed or taken advantage.
I think we were taking advantage. I think because they must have flagged us up on a list. Obviously before we had like store cards and catalogues, and we've not paid properly. So they'll have looked on those lists and thought, right, there's a good couple. They don't pay very easily. Let's try and get them. They're not going to pay, are they? And I think we were targeted. I don't know how, but somebody apparently can buy your details. I've been told.
And as well, they can also see that you already paid so much.
I'm sure we were targeted, Lovey.
Yeah,
I am.
mean, for whatever, we can now just guess.
It's too late now.
Yeah.
But I'm sure if I'd have been a little bit more like, I wish I'd have thrown the man out.
But
Too
then
late.
again, we are in peculiar situation when we were discussing off camera about media, about press, like what mainstream media, how is framing the minds, because this is not the actual facts that they are feeding to the public. It is just a way the establishment wants public to think. It's not necessarily facts, and that's why we were discussing why mainstream media will not pick up on your case, and I'm sure there was plenty of people in country who were tricked in a similar.
I'm sure there's plenty of people
But
out there.
we just don't hear about this.
No, I wish I could. I'd love to make a group.
Yes.
Form a group, an action group.
So the reason why we are talking now is that independent media, like myself, Mark Banaman, we're stepping in to give you some coverage to get this out there, so public can see, because this will not be presented, or even though if media like, let's say, Sheffield Star, it will be twisted in the way they want.
Yeah, yeah.
So what happened today is again another thread to the story, that you were forced on the duress to sign some paperwork. Can you explain what happened today?
Right.
What they asked you to sign today?
The actual key worker. We all came to a decision on a conference call yesterday afternoon that could we have one last chance to get something before this morning happened. So it was agreed that we could get hopefully have a tenancy, but they wanted some rules as well. But I did not know what the rules were. I was just told this morning there will be somebody come to my house from South Yorkshire Housing with paperwork for me to sign for the new property and for something else. Now, the new property wasn't a problem. I've done that willingly, but there's something else was a problem. It was to allow two people to be on the mortgage account to be able to be third parties. Now, one of those parties was my son, which is absolutely not a problem. It's my son, and he has been dealing with it. He's been treated badly by them, and they've been nasty to him, but anyway. The second one was the reporter from the Sheffield Star, who has been trying to get hold of them, and who was drafted in by my son, and who was trying to, obviously, printed stuff about it and trying to, highlight what they've done to us. And the duress bit was the fact that I was asked to sign those two things, and I was advised that one of them, the star man, shouldn't be involved in it. Got nothing to do with him. But with it being a case of, if I don't sign, the bailiff could come back tomorrow unannounced. I've had I don't want to live with the threat. I want the threat over.
You wanted to conclude.
Banaman was telling me the right thing. He was telling me, be careful. He was making it like you shouldn't be doing this. They shouldn't be putting you in that position. But I felt I had to sign it because I've been through so much upset.
Because again, they will just turn you away, and you felt under duress to. Very
much, because they were still, even now, all right, they backed off this morning, but I was very close to being. It was the actual people were hiding. They were on the scene. They were ready to come.
Well, I will give you some background because this is the part I filmed earlier.
Did you see the people?
I haven't, but I arrived here at 11.
Oh right, did you? I didn't know with all the upset going on. I didn't know.
I haven't seen everything. Yeah. So. But people who came here before me, they reported that there was a dog handler here.
Yes.
Present. Why was that? Because you have a cat.
I do have a cat.
So the reason is that there's eviction, but it's eviction for all occupants, including animal.
No, I didn't know about that.
That's again. So we had a locksmith. Yeah.
I was told there was a locksmith on.
Yeah. So there was a locksmith,
yes.
And very likely bailiff around. But because what happened, and I will share a separate video on that.
Right.
People gathered in front of property.
Yeah, it did.
They help you with the door.
The door was boarded up by a gentleman. Yes.
Yes. So all that was done.
Not know who it is.
Maybe just we don't want to record this, or I will pause the video.
Yeah, please, yeah.
We are just resuming interview. Right. I will not be cutting this. The way I recorded, we will just not edit anything. I will just post this as we.
Okay, love. Yeah.
Recorded it. So. Before we were interrupted by the phone call, that's why I stopped the video.
Okay, yeah.
You just mentioned Mark Banaman confronting bailiffs.
He actually went up to the car and spoke to them. Yes.
Yeah. So we had the bailiffs in undercover, waiting to step in.
Yes.
There was dog handler and there was locksmith.
Yes.
Perhaps because of a situation where we had people. In front of property, they deter them from direct approach.
Okay, right.
Right. So perhaps that's why they were hiding.
Yes.
So how it concluded. So today you were coerced to sign.
I was
paperwork accepting new location and.
Yeah. Well, that was fine. The new location.
And the condition was that you sign.
Yes.
Further paperwork, which was.
Yeah, they would go away today, but they will definitely. The definite is that I have to vacate by the 7th of April, which is a Sunday, and go to the new property.
Will they provide you property by that time?
Yes. I haven't. The property is already occupied at the moment, but it is definitely mine. I've got the paperwork to prove it's mine, but I cannot have the keys to the property from the housing association until the current people have vacated.
But then, again, this is until it's vacant. Anything can happen.
I know.
With them not living.
Yeah.
And then you're being
if
in this property.
If there's a hitch and they're leaving.
Yes.
This is what worries me as well. Now you've mentioned it.
Yes. So
it didn't worry me before, but it does now.
Yes. So obviously this is still.
It's still an ongoing situation.
Yes,
isn't
it's an ongoing situation.
Yeah, I think it is.
We're just showing you like how this whole drama build up, because like all of a sudden all your life is just under big question mark. You're facing potential homelessness, and then even the help you're getting after all your lifelong work, paying taxes, paying bills, paying your mortgage as well, as much as you could, you're just left with nothing.
I am, absolutely nothing.
So that's the whole horror of this story. And then again, maybe positive side is just people's reaction, that people turn up, that there was a...
I was quite moved.
Yes. Because as a society, we seems to be broken nowadays. Nobody care about anybody.
Right, yeah.
Is that this consumer society where everybody is just a consumer, and the family is not relevant anymore. There's no connection. Families don't live in together. We were discussing this off camera, like multi-generational families. The natural thing was grandparents looking after grandkids, and not just being kicked out to either care homes or not needed anymore. So right, this mentality, how it changed and how it affects people, because the way the society is structured. We were also discussing, let's say, neighbors. How come strange people from even as far as Nottingham could come to aid you, and they don't even know you.
No.
And they came here to help, to stop injustice. And then neighbor on other side of street, like they're indifferent.
They have. They've been. Yeah, they have.
So they've
just got on with their day, you know.
But this is just a sample of the society. This is not any different. So I said the same. If I would be dragged out of my house, this is something worrying, So I would expect neighbors to react.
Yes.
But the way the society is now desensualized, it's like nobody cares.
It's just like nobody cares,
So that's why I wanted to show the story.
Thank you,
And to make it public, and same like present those people who came, educate, because people as well who are finding themselves in a position like yours, they just feel completely abandoned, helpless, stressed, petrified. They don't know what to do. There's a letter saying, give us that amount of money.
Exactly.
After paying for 36 years.
It takes you to a place where you basically don't want to be here anymore. It takes you to a mental health state of mind that thinks, well, why should I bother?
It's so degrading.
It's humiliating, degrading, scary, and potentially it could be shortening your life.
And as well, literally.
You don't know. I mean, if you've got a heart problem.
Let's say if there would be no people today coming.
Yes.
Or like Mark Banaman didn't catch up on
they would have just come.
They could possibly just kick you out. And you would be sleeping on the street right now as we speak, because
and it's really cold out there.
Yes.
And my husband wouldn't last long, because your body, as you get older.
That's what people need to understand, because the thing that is happening to you right now can happen to anybody.
It can happen
because
to anybody,
anybody with mortgage.
Yes.
Who, let's say, if this arrangement is to buy a house for 25 or 30 years, but you don't know what will happen in 27 years from now, 17 years from now.
No.
Maybe you will end up on a wheelchair, or your partner die, or something tragic will happen.
An accident in your car, anything,
you lose your health.
Yes.
It is so concerning.
It is. It's your main thing in life to keep the roof. You can eat what you like, but you have to keep the roof. You've got to be decent. You've got to have.
So this, that's what I mean. The whole system is so predatory. Like I said, the first half, you're paying the most of the interest. So bank is benefiting. When you refinance, it is exactly the same because property value went up in time. So what bank is doing is by handing you some money, they are just increasing your debt.
Oh yes, yes,
And
absolutely.
since you got debt, you're forever paying the interest.
Yes, we're in over our head,
Yes, so this is like trap mechanism.
and it's not going to be solved. I'm afraid, ever, never going to be solved. Never, the house is never going to be paid for, ever.
I will tell you something different. I just to like change perspective. My grandparents, they live in small village, and I remember the way their village was built. So the houses and farm buildings, barns, etc. They got no mortgage on them. The way they were built, it was that if we are neighbors and you're building your house, I will come and help you, and vice versa. So neighbors will come around, and they were helping each other to build their houses, and that's how whole village was built. It was small village, just a handful of households, and next village to it was just like 500 occupants, so really small.
If I'm not being filmed.
No, that's just you're just walking past.
Oh, my back's killing me.
Well, sit down then.
So you see, there's no banks involved. Even those days, the buildings are owned outright,
Yeah.
and that's how those people lived. And now, like, you can work all your life and not even pay your house while you're making payments. This is just a basic commodity. So the system is just designed to extract everything from you, and you're never ending up owning anything.
No, absolutely not being worth bothering.
And you mentioned as well that you don't have financial knowledge.
No, I'm
And
afraid
then
not, no.
what people don't know is like anything over £250,000, when you're passing over, there is 40% inheritance tax.
I've heard of inheritance tax, but I don't understand any of it. at
So
all.
again, because you don't understand, you cannot plan.
No,
So you
no.
might spend all your life working your butt off just to leave something for your children. So you're trying to, I don't know, so say 250,000, that would be perhaps one house in Sheffield. One house in town centre, not nothing special. $250,000, that would be property in town centre, yeah? 2-bedroom house maybe. The outskirts,
Yeah,
prices are different, but it's nothing special. Or it will be 2 houses in 125,000. So if you buy 3, then third will be taken, 40%.
right, yeah, I understand that.
Just because you pass away.
Yeah, yeah. I feel I've failed in a way. Signing that document has made me, and now it's come back to haunt me. It's just like, I'm a fool in a way. Why did I do it?
In a sense, we are all fools.
Yeah, yeah.
So this
I
is,
wish I could
there
turn the
is-
clock back and do.
Yes, but
I
now,
can't now, can I?
you're still sorting the situation.
Well, yeah, it's still ongoing. Really, we're not really.
Yes.
There, are we?
Yeah, we will follow up. I'm sure, Mark.
Until
and
I'm
I,
moved
and-
into that
yes.
new property.
And even you will be
I'm not-
moving next to Barnsley.
Yes,
so,
I'm
so
hoping to.
I
Yeah.
will.
It's going to be quite a lot of boxing up of.
Yeah, so I will leave you my number. So we'll connect when you move there as well. We will follow up on this.
Okay.
And yeah, we'll see if you need any help. I will leave you my number as well.
Okay, thank you.
But
Well, I've got 3 months with the lady worker from the housing association. She's going to stay with me for 3 months, which should guarantee everything in place.
that's fine.
She's been
But
very kind and very helpful.
it is just a safety measure. It's like extra parachute. Yeah, if everything goes okay, that's okay. Yeah, just not a problem.
I just want to get back to some kind of life.
Yes, so you don't want to.
It's on hold at the moment.
Yes, you're just petrified
I've
with
got
all
no.
this.
I can't make plans.
Mm-hmm.
I daren't.
Yes.
It's dangerous work. It's just, you don't need the pressure. It can make you ill. In fact, if I could have had a heart attack. It can happen. It's not a nice place to be for anybody, no matter young or old people. I just feel as if, why have I bothered to do anything in this world? It's all come crashing down on me now.
End of the day, we don't choose the circumstances. Whatever happens, it happens. But we can choose what we do about them. So you decided to fight till the end.
Well, I've tried.
And as well, this is also a brave thing for you to do.
I've tried.
To make it public as well, because this will raise awareness.
Yes, I hope it does.
There are so many people who are in a position of victim.
I'm sure there's going to be quite a few more.
And they don't do it. They don't do what you're doing.
Well,
so you can be proud of yourself.
You will be, unless you've got some other plans to live somewhere else, you've got no choice but to stand up to them. And at least you know you did everything legally you could.
But you're doing things legally. They don't do things legally.
No, they don't do things legally. They have been cruel and very, 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 very cold-hearted.
You were taking advantage for now 2005, so 19 years you're being played till that very sad conclusion.
Yeah, they've been cruel, uncaring, and just haven't treated me with one human being to another human being. Just like money. That's all it boils down to. That's the final message on this. They want their money back.
But that's not
whether you.
Okay, but that's I will disagree on that one, because it's not the final message. The final message is that there are still good people out there.
Oh, there are good people out there.
So,
and I'm moved to today.
So this is like this is English saying, every cloud got silver lining, right? So in every negative there is positive. So
it's supposed to be.
So even a situation like this, they gather people together, and people are fighting back this injustice.
Find out who your friends are. That's another English thing.
Yes.
People who you didn't think was bothered about you can sometimes come and give the biggest support ever.
But again, this is what I was discussing with people who gathered in front of your house.
Yeah.
So we were discussing this, and we cannot be indifferent. We can't be desensualized to what is happening to others, because every injustice we tolerate, it only grows. It just escalates. So
it's a cruel. I wish I'd wake up and it was a dream. That's how I feel about it. It's surreal. I didn't want to know about court workings and bailiffs, and I just didn't want to know about that. I just wanted to get on doing what I do, paying my bits, and be left alone to help other people. But I've had to put everything on hold.
Hopefully this situation will clarify now.
Well,
you now got emergency help, so you got numbers to call. You saw like how quickly people gathered as well. So for sure, this should at least
I'll laugh about this in a few years.
And then hopefully in a few months' time you will be in a new place, and just this stress will be behind.
I'm hoping to put it behind me, but it's going to be difficult when I look around and realise I'm not where I really, really chose to be. My choices there weren't any, and that's hard to take. Because I wanted choice, and if they'd have only given me a little bit more understanding, this company, to kind of have that choice, I would have been fine. I would have gone. I wasn't stopping. I wasn't going to not go, but I wanted to go to my time and my choice.
We can for sure make this public, so many people will watch this.
It would make me cry if I was going to watch this.
Maybe some people as well they got legal background.
Well, yeah, that's
Maybe
true.
there is somebody who can
I've thought
help
about
you
that.
legally. I can't tell
No,
because
no.
this will be a random audience that
Exactly, well, I
will
understand
watch it,
that.
so I cannot
Yeah.
promise things.
No, there's no
For
promises,
sure,
no.
what I will do, I will put this
Okay, thank you.
on social media
Fine, yeah.
for people to watch and share. And
Well, Mark said they've got a lot of people talking on forums.
yes,
That's what he
because
told me.
yes, because there was that situation which he also mentioned to you, I believe, about eviction of that lady with cancer.
I was shocked. My son mentioned it too. He's read it as well.
So
I was shocked.
this is something that should shake the people,
It should be.
and that's why it should go out in
It
public.
should go out in public.
And that's why we're doing this. And
Yes.
as well, I wanted to educate people, help them to understand that when they get those letters, there's help because they feel lonely. But there are ways to reach out to people who, like you didn't know those people.
No, not one of them.
Such a big group
I
showed.
didn't know Mark.
Yeah, such a big group showed up, and they attended so many other evictions, etc. So there are people willing to help.
Yeah.
So for people who are in a similar situation, so there's help. I'm not saying this will change injustice that is happening.
No, I don't think it will straight away. No, it never.
But we have to do things one pebble by one pebble. Yeah, we have to
I know.
dig ourselves out of this, and the more we educate people, and we get back to some basic compassion. Yes, then we just need to rethink how we go about as a society, because the way we were conditioned is not good.
There was no compassion at all in my case from
And
the people that were.
what's the point? Like you said, so you should be enjoying your golden ages.
Yes, we should.
You should be playing with your grandkids.
I should.
Not
Planning
be,
to go on trips.
not be stressed like you are now.
But you can't leave the house when you know that somebody might be battering the door down when you've left. That's the threat I live under. I mean, if they could come.
And even from just a moral ground, like those people, they think nothing of it.
No, they don't. It's a job, isn't it?
It's just a job. I was doing my job. We heard
I don't
this.
know how they can sleep at night.
We heard this back in the history. I was just doing my job.
Yeah, but that's not fair.
So this is so bad.
Oh, that's my son again. Wanted to check I'm definitely going.
Other things. Right, we're resuming. There was second call again. I will not be editing any of that.
Right,
so
that's fine,
how we started this interview will be of the whole length. Yeah. So we were just
Yeah. Okay.
having unscripted conversation.
Yeah.
This is ongoing story. This is a shocking story. So many threads to it. So many emotions. So as well, there could be many things developing from that. So we will follow up on that. So concluding, you signed the paperwork.
Yes, I did.
So we will be given new property to move. This was conditional. Just to, if you can remind us this.
Yeah, the conditions were that we obviously vacated on the timeline, and we signed this paperwork, and just complied with the moving out, because obviously if not, there was nothing else going to be said. They don't have to book another appointment to come back. These bailiffs, they can just appear at any time, and so I signed everything. I've just felt that this has got to come to an end. I don't think I've done anything that's going to jeopardise anything that's going to happen. The tenancy is mine. I just told the key worker that somebody could break a leg who's moving out of that property and I can't get in it. She assures me that that's not going to happen, but we're all human. So there's still a tiny bit of God,
so we will
there could
follow
be a
up.
problem.
And again, in your story, this is like precedence as well, because it seems to be so much confusion around your situation, and we got this opinion that you were a victim of a fraud.
I am still of that opinion, yes. I am.
And obviously, maybe somebody who is viewing this is trained in legal matters, so maybe can help reach out. So this perhaps can be a case that precedent case. So we will follow up on this. I will check on you, how you are. And
shell shock today. Oh,
yes,
emotional.
Yes, of course.
And
But again, there's like two lessons. One is that tragic story, but then it's also positive that people need to get together, even in a situation like this. So even if you get this scary letter and you are put under the wall, that we need to get over this. And it was good that so many people engaged. So that's what I wanted to show, like two sides.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so
Fair enough.
your story and as well the fact that people can challenge those things, because otherwise you would just feel this is inevitable, and literally even the same time we're talking now is evening. It could be possibly homeless at the minute.
Yes, I would have definitely been
And
homeless.
we just don't know. We are now speculating, but it is sad and scary realization that it escalated to this point.
It is. I didn't think it would. I really
so
did
this is also to educate our viewers of what can happen, and we need to like come together and work out some defense mechanism. Like you said, if there are other people like you,
Yes,
if
I'd like
there
to know
could be
that fact, yes.
a group of people who
Yes,
can gather
it'd be very,
together
very
to
nice for come
take,
together and
take
help.
legal action, to
Yes.
take some,
Would, it would be great.
create some support group.
Yeah, definitely support. It's very important.
So same if anybody got similar story, or if anybody watching got legal training and can aid with some help, maybe starting the case and suing that mortgage company, please reach out. We will connect you. And yeah, that's where we conclude for now.
Right. That's fine. That's absolutely fine.
Thank you for taking time to
No problem.
tell us the story. Thank you for watching, and we will follow up.
Lovely. That's fine. That's absolutely fine.
Thank you very much.
Stressful day. Hopefully,
Yes.
new start.
Yes, so this time we will wrap up.
Lovely.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.